Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video. Is that how this works? It's been so long since I've actually recorded a video here on YouTube that I kind of forgot. But in any case, this is Rusty again, back with another video. Really, just giving you guys an update on where the podcast is at. I don't know if you guys saw my last video, basically just kind of announcing that I'd be switching from the YouTube space to kind of the podcast space and maybe take a quick step back. I apologize if I sound a little weird. I'm just getting over a cold, so I kind of sound like a frog. So I apologize for that. But yeah, hopefully that's not too distracting. In any case, so I just want to give you guys an update on how the podcast is going, and if for those of you that aren't aware that I'm currently recording a podcast, I just wanted to kind of make all of you aware that have followed my channel over the years. Thank you for sticking out the ride. It's been 8 years now that I've been on YouTube, almost to the day. I think my first YouTube video was in July or June of 2010. I did my Dragon Ball Origins 2 unboxing for the Nintendo DS, so really fun times. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of update you guys on the podcast Otaku Brothers that I'm currently recording with my brother-in-law on a weekly basis. When we originally kind of advertised the podcast, it was going to be a bi-weekly basis, but Ryan, my co-host, my brother, and I have really found the time to either record on like a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday every week. And for me, as far as editing goes, it's really not too big of a deal, Editing the show really doesn't take a whole lot of effort. It's more or less just making sure that the audio itself throughout the episode is consistent, and then just the intro and outro and any other like minor hiccups during the episode that I might have to edit out, like swearing, because we are a clean podcast. But it's been a lot of fun. We record on a weekly basis. We're currently at 10 episodes. And I couldn't be more proud of what we put out so far. And I'd really just encourage anyone that's followed my channel that maybe isn't aware or has just been hesitant to listen to the show to hop on board. I'd really greatly appreciate the support. We're, of course, not doing it in any way for any kind of monetary support. We're just doing it for the pleasure of, making our voices heard. That's why I got on YouTube to begin with, because people like TV and Lust, Finn Gamer, and Pete Dorr that were talking about why they loved video games, and I just wanted to be a voice in a pocket community that was just talking about things that I loved. So that's really all the podcast is just Ryan and I going back and forth talking about our favorite video games, maybe particular aspects about video games. Episode 11 coming up that hasn't yet been recorded is about RPGs. So we're going to be talking about Western RPGs, action RPGs, tactical strategy RPGs like your Fire Emblems and Final Fantasy Tactics type stuff. We'll be digging deep into our favorite music from those different games, our favorite battle systems, characters, and really just kind of breaking down our favorite games from each of the subgenres of the RPG. But that's really just one episode, Other episodes we kind of break down Star Wars, so our favorite movies, kind of where we want the new Rian Johnson trilogy of movies to go, how we rank the series of movies thus far, all that kind of stuff. And then we have cartoons. We talk about 90s cartoons, current cartoons, really all over the board. If you can think of any related pop culture, nerd culture, we really hope to, if not have covered it already, cover it in the future. We really have a pretty flexible schedule and kind of idea of what we want to cover, moving forward. But one of the biggest things that I want with this podcast, and so far it's been great, just kind of getting listener feedback. People have been writing into the show, and I'll have links to everything at the bottom of the show notes, whether it be our Discord, where you can write in for show ideas and questions, also our email, where you can write in for feedback and questions directly, and also just the show on Podbean, and it's on iTunes or Apple Podcasts as well. I'll have notes and the show links to all of that good stuff. But really what the purpose of the podcast is really all about, when Ryan and I originally kind of created it, Ryan hadn't had experience on YouTube. He wasn't familiar with that community of people, but I was. And really what I wanted with this show was to kind of revitalize that community aspect of YouTube, because back in 2010 when I started my channel, and even I would say into 2012, maybe even a little into 2013, it was really alive and thriving. People were constantly on Pete's Game Rooms forum, commenting about things, just talking, just conversing about their recent pickups, games they've been playing recently, news that had been recently released in the industry on your favorite gaming websites. Like, just having that community aspect of discussion, and just kind of collaborating and just video responses and things like that. That's just really a lost art these days. That's kind of what I hope to kind of recreate with our podcast, because there's a number of gaming podcasts. You have your Giant Bombs and your IGNs and whatever it might be, even Radio Free Nintendo. But what I always loved was just the All Gen Gamers back in the origins of 2010 when it first started. People were writing into the show, your voices were heard, they were answering your questions. That's ultimately what I want to recreate with Otaku Brothers. And we're 10 episodes in, and we already have more listeners than I in any way could have ever imagined or hoped for. It's not to say that it's astronomical or in any way a fraction of the Giant Bomb numbers, but I don't want that number of listeners, because I like having that small, tight-knit niche community of people that I know. Like, I look at Zach, ZRPG. He writes into the show. I know Zach. I know Alec, ChronoLink9. Pete Dorr, he's a bigger name, Happy Console Gamer and stuff like that. But I like those smaller name people, like Paige, Fem Trooper. You have people like, I don't even know, Dustin Christ, just people in the YouTube gaming community. Ballin Nick 1982 or whatever his username handle might have been. I like having that smaller group of people that I can kind of connect with, that I kind of recognize their name and their taste in games. And even if I don't, if we have new listeners, again, that's my hope, is we bring on new listeners. But what I'm getting at, and you probably know, is just that community aspect. People writing in, and Ryan and I being able to take your questions and your feedback, and not only making the show better, but just having your voice heard as well. We want to have guests on, and what part of this episode from my YouTube is just letting people know that we recently had Pete Dorr on, and it was a really good time. I hope Pete had fun kind of recording the episode, but it was just fun picking his brain about kind of the current state of collecting. We talked quite a bit about that. We talked about MMO addictions, because if any longtime followers of the All Gen Gamers podcast, the back and forth banter that Pete Dorr and Happy Console Gamer had about Final Fantasy XI and all that fun stuff. So we kind of picked his brain about that, and then just talked about the games we've been playing recently. We really didn't go anything too much, but it ended up being like a 2.5-hour episode, just kind of just talking, and that is what I want. That is what I want. I want to bring on people from the YouTube gaming community and just talk about video games, because that's why we're here. That is what we love. That is one of our greatest passions, and that is what Otaku Brothers is all about. So just a quick update, to you guys that are listening, or that have been following my YouTube channel. Otaku Brothers, we're having a really, really, really good time, and Ryan and I are super, super just proud of where the show is at. And last episode 10, I had my wife on, Ryan's brother, my wife. We talked about Disney and Pixar, just all things Disney and Pixar, favorite movies, the CGI adaptation, or CGI versus old school animation, the live action adaptations, and kind of how we feel about those, and the future of Disney. We just digged into Disney and Pixar and everything in between. So it was just a lot of fun. And I want to have more guests on in the future. I really do. So, but yeah, I don't even know why I came on to record this today. I just got kind of an itch to do so, and I just want to kind of update all of you, kind of the state of where everything's at. But everything, all the links will be in the show notes to this video. Our Discord, the podcast itself, where you can find me on Twitter. We'll be posting updates on Instagram, where I kind of chronicle my life with Lauren more than anything, but also a little bit of video games in the podcast. So you can follow me on there as well. All of that will be in the show notes. Ryan doesn't really go to social media so much, but yeah, you can listen on the podcast and get an idea of his taste of games. He's more of a modern gamer, but I think we have a nice kind of diverse cast with him and I. He He is more into the modern stuff, and while I am as well, I have a PS4, 3DS, and Vita and stuff like that. I dabble more into the old school retro type of consoles as well. So it's kind of nice to have that kind of diverse cast on the show, even if it is only two people as opposed to 4 to 6 for other podcasts. But I think it's a nice fit, and we certainly have a lot of fun. So I hope you'll listen in. Otaku Brothers, you don't have to support us. Not a big deal. I just thank you for even listening to either this video or even my show for as long as you may have. It certainly means a lot to me. You really have no idea how much YouTube means to me personally. It's really special. It really is. I've met a lot of really great people in here. Just really good friends. Really good friends. You don't think that you go on the internet and meet people that really mean something to you and people that you truly remember, but I feel like there are people here on YouTube that I'll never forget, and that's special to me, and it just means a lot, and so I hope I can continue that with the podcast moving forward. So thank you, all of you, for listening to this video, my monologue, running way too long, rambling as I usually do. But even my videos over the past 8 years, as they've been quite sporadic, certainly over the last 4, being in college and such. But thank you for being patient. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a supporter. And good and bad, positive and negative, the feedback is much appreciated. So thank you so much. And please tune in to the podcast, Otaku Brothers. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and Podbean. I'll see you all next time. Thank you.